So Doris just needed to be close to her audience to infect them. Contagion through skin. Very disturbing.
For as long as I've been a member, I've never seen so few vampires attending the club nights.
Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reed. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report.
I must admit the Guard of Priwen impressed me. They must have spent years preparing their plan.
I know we're facing a crisis, but I'm shocked no one took the time to clean up the mess inside the club since we were out of town.
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lance-Bearer. Please tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reed. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
But some questions remain.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new vampire.
Recruit a new vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
I'm sorry, but I can't.
Are you questioning my orders?
No. It's just... I'm not sure I'm ready to have another progeny after what happened with my sister.
The rebirth of Aloysius Dawson is a necessary step in our campaign to ensure the safety of London.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he is about to die. And he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reed. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then?
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop. But he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Have a drink and enjoy this night, for it could be our last.
Are you all right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
Aloysius Dawson is the richest man in England. He'll be a very useful resource for the club.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turn the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous, Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
Goodbye for now, Elizabeth.
Goodbye, my dear. Please, be careful.
It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny. Powers pass from one generation to another. That's why Dawson wants me to sire him.
See them fire! Ah! Don't like that! He's dead! Oh, Christ! You'll pay for that!
It's locked. I should find another way to get into the neighborhood. I think this passage could lead me close to Aloysius Dawson's mansion.
This is now my domain.
I have this thirst for blood. can't believe I'm doing this.
Are you from Ascalon? I don't care! Ah!
How long are you gonna keep me locked in here? Disgusting arsehole! Vampire or not, I'll never be your wife! Let me go, you bastard! Arsehole! Vampire or not, I'll never be your wife!
Don't you know better? Ah! Ah!
How long are you gonna keep me locked in here? Let me go, you bastard! Disgusting arsehole! Vampire or not, I'll never be your wife! How long are you gonna keep me locked in it?
Stupid newborn!
Let me go, you bastard! How long are you gonna keep me locked in here?
This is my territory!
Arsehole! Vampire or not, I'll never be your wife!
Miss Teasdale, are you all right?
How do you know my name? Who are you?
My name is Dr. Reed. I managed to track you down thanks to your father.
So my father really was looking after me. This man, this vampire told me my father was dead. Is it true?
I'm afraid so, miss. I'm so sorry for your loss. But you are free to go, as your abductor is no more.
I suppose my jailer also killed my father, didn't he?
Thankfully, he did not search your father's corpse, where I found his notes describing where he might find you. You should read them.
I must find my father's body. He deserves a proper burial.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale. and... You should return to a safer place, Miss Teasdale. What's more, I'm not sure you should see your father in his condition. He was savagely disfigured.
Thank you for your sympathy, Doctor. But I recently learnt to stare horror in the face.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale. Good evening, sir. I am Dr. Jonathan Reed. Do you need my help?
Yes, please. Would you be kind enough to tell me what the time is?
That's all you need to know.
Well, is it not important to know? As important as where you are? Or who you are?
I suppose you're right. And who are you then, sir?
I am Agamemnon Baker. Like my brother, I think we need to leave this city immediately. And my brother and I rarely agree on anything.
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
You should ask that question to my brother instead. Personally, I've not seen Aloysius for many years.
What can you tell me about your brother?
He's older than me, I think. But the important thing is that I really hope I'll die before him. Grief would just kill me, you know?
Is that all?
Pericles is very attached to this city, and without my insistence, he would never leave this place. We don't often agree on anything, you see.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's the only place I've considered myself happy. Or at least that's what I believe. Unfortunately, it's time to leave.
Why is that?
Because I'm not feeling happy here anymore. Are you?
What kind of question is that? What am I supposed to answer, exactly?
The truth. And I believe you just did it, actually.
May I ask what you're doing outside at this hour of night?
I don't know. You should ask my brother instead. It was his idea in the first place.
You must have your own ideas.
From what I have managed to understand, I guess we're supposed to wait here. Waiting for someone to come.
May I ask why you've not gone already, if you're so exasperated by this long wait?
I believe fear is holding us back. My brother would have said it's laziness, but it's just because he's prouder than I am.
Who are you waiting for, exactly?
The more I think about it, the more I believe it's not exactly a person we are waiting for.
But what else could it be, then?
I don't know. A feeling? An event? An impulse? How can I tell? Something that would allow us to leave this trap.
I'm afraid I'm not following you. What kind of trap are you talking about?
Have you ever felt like life trapped you in a role that does not fit you? That you are not in your place? That sort of trap.
Trap? And you think leaving London will free you?
At least it will give us the chance to be free. That's more than our present situation. Hope, Doctor. Hope is what truly drives mankind.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker.
Hello again, Doc.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I be of assistance?
Dr. Reed? Dr. Reed?
Is there anything wrong?
No, it's just... your name sounds familiar. And your face. Have we met before?
I think I would remember. So I suppose the answer is no.
That's odd. I'm certain I've already heard of you. My name is Pericles Baker. Does that mean anything to you?
I'm afraid not, sir. But it's a pleasure to meet you anyway.
The pleasure is mine, I guess. I only wish I could remember when it was that we met.
Who are you waiting for? I'm sure he has a name.
I really can't answer that question, since I don't know that person.
And why is that?
This person is mostly my brother's acquaintance. I don't even know his real name. Only that this man could help us leave this city once and for all.
But why would you need this person's help to leave London anyway?
Well, I thought we should have left this cursed place already, but my brother convinced me to stay a while longer, and here we are.
And what do you do, sir? For a living, that is.
I stopped working when I decided to leave. When I realized what I wanted. Wanted something this city can't provide.
But what were you doing before you took this decision?
Does it really matter anymore? Considering the past seems so pointless to me. I have lived in this city all my life. And now I think it's over.
Tell me more about why you want to leave London, then.
I just don't belong here anymore. I had to convince my brother to leave London because I know we need to find another life out of the city.
Tell me about you.
We are waiting.
And why?
Because we need...
Why do you want to...
I'm not...
Pericles, tell me why your brother disagrees with your presence here.
Agamemnon is naive sometimes. Although don't consider him a fool, sir. He is often more lucid than me.
At least you both have the same difficulty explaining what you're doing, and for what reason.
But is that not a common problem for all mortals?
What can you tell me about your brother?
If you are searching for a pleasant chat, you should speak with him instead of wasting your time with me. He has always been the more gentle of us.
That's it? That's all you can tell me about him?
For the time being, true kindness is the most valuable quality, my good sir.
Can you tell me anything about this district?
As you like asking questions so much, would you allow me to ask you one first?
Please, be my guest.
Do you like this city?
I know we are not living in the most peaceful of times, but I have learned to appreciate London's complexity.
Yes, me too. This city tests us. It invites us to find ourselves, to discover our true nature scattered throughout its dark streets.
But what if we don't like what we find?
Do we ever know who we are? I wonder sometimes. Or maybe it is the journey to find out who we are that changes us.
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
I've heard this is a man who has searched for his place in the world for a long time. I hope he found it.
Goodbye, Mr. Baker.
Hello again, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me?
You should up.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker.
Good evening, sir. May I ask you what you're doing here at this late hour?
I'm conducting an investigation about the epidemic in this part of town.
And who are you, sir?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed from the Pembroke Hospital. May I ask who you are, and why all the questions?
I'm Detective Inspector Charles Albright from Scotland Yard, and I don't find your answers convincing. What is a Pembroke doctor doing in the West End at this time of night?
I work for the Ascalon Club. Here is my permit to go freely about the city.
The Ascalon Club? You should have said so, sir. I must warn you, these streets are dangerous, and you'd better be careful.
What can you tell me about this district?
I'm the one asking questions, especially when there's a killer on the loose.
What killer?
I'm not going to discuss that with the civilians, sir.
Haven't I told you about the investigation I'm conducting? Perhaps I could help you.
All right, without giving you too much information, I'll tell you this. I'm convinced there is a homicidal maniac on the loose, using the epidemic to disguise his kills.
And what about the epidemic?
We both know the situation is critical, don't we, Doctor? Colleagues of mine die almost every day.
Why are you investigating at night?
Criminals rarely act in daylight, you know. But since you are also a night worker, have you noticed anything strange, which requires police attention?
I'd like to report a name, Inspector. Geoffrey McCullum. I'm afraid he's some sort of vigilante, trying to recruit an army of angry citizens.
Then I'll write the name down and transmit this intelligence to the appropriate office. Thank you, sir.
What are you really doing here?
I told you. I'm a detective inspector from Scotland Yard, investigating suspicious cases in the area.
Do you work alone?
Yes. The situation is difficult for the police. Many of us are sick, and since the summer strike, most men apply a work to rule on their patrols.
What about the situation in the East End? Why are there no police there to protect the civilians?
I know, it's a shame, but we just don't have enough men to cover the entire city.
What are you investigating, exactly?
I currently have a few missing persons cases. Mr. Tadao Kimura and Miss Louise Teasdale. I'm afraid they may have been abducted by my mysterious maniac.
Tell me about Louise Teasdale.
She's a waitress. Her father reported her missing. We don't have enough men to search for her, sadly.
Do you have any idea where she could be?
No, but I feel she's been abducted. She went to a pub a few nights ago and vanished. I thought about the sewers, but I'm not equipped for such an investigation.
Tell me about Mr. Kimura.
Mr. Kimura is a businessman who has been missing for a few days. He didn't go home, didn't go to work, didn't go back to his family.
Where was he last seen?
Mr. Kimura was last seen at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. I followed a possible lead in the West End, but I found nothing.
Tell me all you know about that homicidal maniac you're looking for.
I'm not even sure there is only one. The wounds are always the same, but the modus operandi varies. Sometimes violent and brutal, sometimes precise and swift.
How could different killers inflict the same wounds?
That's my main problem. If my theory is correct, maybe we're facing a group of individuals sharing the same violent tendencies. Perhaps a sadist cult.
Do you know anything in particular about a man called Aloysius Dawson?
Who doesn't know the man? I think he intervened personally to put an end to the police strike of last August.
What else can you tell me about him?
Aloysius Dawson is exactly the kind of powerful and influential man who could commit murder and get away with it, with just one phone call.
Goodbye, Detective Inspector Albright.
Goodbye, Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Seems violence and madness are now contagious.
can't believe I'm doing this. I cannot enter.
Perhaps London will survive the epidemic, but I see terrible trial. Jonathan Reed. At last we meet. The cards warned me you would visit tonight.
I beg your pardon, sir. Do I know you?
Of course you do. Our mutual friend, Dr. Swansea, can't speak highly enough of you. My name is Usher. Usher Talltree.
You are the leader of the Brotherhood, are you not?
Primate of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole, to be precise. I'm really glad we met tonight. I love it when the cards tell me a truth.
The cards told you to expect me.
Yes, they can tell me everything. They told me that you have not taken another life since your poor sister died.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood?
I really don't know. I don't often go outside. And when I do, it's usually to quite distant destinations.
So you see nothing in the stars for me? You're a poor fortune teller, then?
Oh, I can tell you many things. But they will only concern you, not the city. For example, I know that you offered your sister the final rest she asked for.
Do the cards speak of my Mary?
No. It's the burning aura of guilt that precedes you everywhere you go.
Read my fortune, then.
You have been chosen, Jonathan. I see on you the mark of a strong being, so powerful it needn't even reveal its strength.
Can you read the cards for me?
Are you sure you want to know what they will reveal?
Yes, I am.
It will cost you 150 shillings.
Here is the money.
The Joker. A woman bent to obey and debase herself. A cruel gaze in the dark. A monster laughing at you.
Tell me about yourself. What do you do here, besides turning cards in the middle of the night?
I'm for most a charlatan. For a few, I'm a vampire. And for you, I'm the primate of St. Paul's Stole.
Some believe you to be a vampire. Who?
The guard of Priwen, who else? For a time, they sent spies to observe my activities, and they even broke into my home to gather proof.
Did they steal anything from you?
A personal notebook they quickly took to their headquarters. All they had to do is to look at me. I'm aging. What better and definite proof that I'm not an immortal?
Do you want your notebook back?
If you ever find it, I'd be glad to have it back, of course. I do ask one thing, though. Do not read it, Jonathan. Some secrets are not meant to be revealed, even to immortals.
For how long have you been a primate?
It was 15 years last year.
What do you make of Dr. Swansea?
Edgar is a brilliant and dedicated man. A man of his time, sometimes a little muddled, but always looking for new paths and new concepts.
Can you read the...
Put the money on...
Perhaps later. Is there anything you could tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
Aloysius Dawson. Yes, of course. We met on several occasions. With time, he got deeper and deeper into the occult.
He's not the only one. It's been quite the fashion for several decades. The Golden Dawn, for instance, is just one example.
True. Aloysius was a member of the Golden Dawn until 1900. Then his thirst for dark knowledge grew. I'm talking forbidden texts, readings which blackened his heart.
How do you measure the amount of blood on my hands?
I told you. The cards always tell the truth. Well, most of the time.
Is it possible to tell me my future?
A vampire's fate is much more delicate to read, Doctor. But I can try.
All right. Let me hear it.
You're on a path to redemption, Jonathan. But be careful. One single trip and you'll fall.
That doesn't sound promising.
Take this, young Ekon, as a personal reward for your strong will. Keep following the right path and you'll reach safety.
How did...
I told
Is
you,
it...
vamp...
I would rather... How did you learn about Mary? And spare me the hocus-pocus parlor tricks. The truth, now!
Swansea told me. Don't look at me like that. His task is to observe and gather information about vampires. He had to tell me about Mary.
Mary did not deserve her fate. She had already suffered enough during her life. And yet the pain and the suffering went on after her death.
Suffering is part of the immortal condition. Some prefer to lose their minds rather than face the simple truth. Pain will never stop.
May I ask you about the Brotherhood?
Of course. But I must warn you that there are some subjects we consider taboo, in spite of our fondness and acceptance of your kind.
I know there is no love lost between the Guard of Priwen and the Brotherhood. What caused this rift?
It was 1801. The Brotherhood was stronger then, a strength that made them hungry for ever greater power. An argument divided them, and the wound never healed.
What was the nature of the disagreement?
The problem was that both sides considered themselves the legitimate heirs of the original Brotherhood. We divide up the books, the relics, not always fairly or with consideration.
Who founded the Brotherhood?
That's precisely the kind of question I cannot answer. It is delicate and may reveal some of our secret traditions.
So you're not just a club of academics and scholars?
Once upon a time, very long ago, the Brotherhood did more than simply study the vampires. They took actions to eliminate the more ferocious and corrupted.
Goodbye, sir. Until we meet again.
I rarely wander, yet it amuses me to converse with your kind. A red river, a song in the dark, the whispers of a sun. So many signs to interpret. never lie, but they are never easy to read. Good evening.
Goodbye, sir. Until we meet again.
I rarely wander. Fool and the Empress. Again. What are the guards?
The power of the Lord commands you!
Good evening, Miss Price. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you remember me?
Dr. Reed? Yes, of course. You are the doctor who healed me and my mum. Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Good to see you too, Carol. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. I did not hurt myself recently. I know how to take care of myself now. I'm almost a grown-up.
Have you ever met the famous Aloysius Dawson?
Yes. A very strange man. Not very nice.
What do you mean?
He said he was ready to pay good money for rare books, and then laughed at what we showed him.
Why are you awake at night, Carol?
I am helping my mother in her shop. It's not easy, but I'm a grown-up now.
I'm sure your mother is grateful for your help.
I do the best I can. But I'm so clumsy sometimes. I drop things. I injure myself. It's a good thing my mother has the patience of an angel.
Why is work not easy? Is something or someone bothering you?
Oh no, most people are gentle with me. But I'm so nervous sometimes. I pay no attention and hurt myself. Good thing my mum learned first aid.
What can you tell me of the people living nearby?
I don't speak to many people, except our customers. It's not easy to make friends. And with the epidemic, it's even more difficult.
Have you no friends at all?
No. Mr. Nithercote used to pass by and was always nice to me.
Does he not come by anymore?
No. Mum said he was weird. Always reciting poetry about a girl he'd met in Whitechapel. I wonder who this camellia may be.
What can you tell me about the epidemic?
Some of our regular customers have left London. Some others only send their housemaids now. Everybody fears the contagion. I've even seen men with weapons.
Do you enjoy working with your mother?
Oh yes, Doctor. My mother raised me alone after my father died. We've always lived together, and she has always watched over me.
Do you remember your father?
No, I was just a baby then. My mother always told me how strong and good he was.
Do you ever think about getting married now you're a woman?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. Mum always says I'm still a child who has no idea how tough life can be. No husband would like a clumsy girl like me.
Goodbye, Carol.
Dr. Reed.
It's locked, all right.
I am glad to see.
Good evening, Miss Price. How are you tonight?
Dr. Reed, I didn't know you had returned from the war. I had a new doctor when you left, but he's not as kind as you.
Always glad to see a former patient in good condition. It's been a long time.
Too long indeed. And as a token of my appreciation, I'll grant you the best price if you fancy buying anything from my humble shop.
May I look?
It's always a pleasure to have you here. Dr. Reed.
It's locked. Good evening, Miss Price.
You know you can call me Carolyn, my dear doctor.
Carol's gratitude is exemplary. She seems determined never to leave you.
I'm taking care of my daughter as well as I can. It's not always easy, but she's the best gift life gave me.
But she'll probably leave you someday to live her own life. Will that be difficult for you?
Why would she leave? Children sometimes stay with their parents until the end, for they know no one else will love them as much.
What can you tell me about yourself, Miss Price?
I'm still managing my shop. The only difference is, since the quarantine, we're open at night. You, on the contrary, seem to have changed a lot.
Really? Have I changed that much? It must have been the war and the night shifts since my return.
Don't get me wrong, Dr. Reed, you're still handsome. Just maybe a little bit wiser, more serious. It suits you well.
Tell me more about yourself. No new fiancé? I remember you were hoping to get remarried. I'm sure you must have a few suitors.
Who would marry an old bat like myself with a grown daughter and a little business? As you know, I only fancy handsome men like yourself.
Have you noticed anything in particular in this part of town recently?
Other than you coming back to cheer me up? Nothing at all, Dr. Reed.
Does your daughter still worry you, Miss Price? I remember you were often concerned about her health when she was younger.
Have you not seen Carol since you returned? She's almost a young woman now. But she'll always remain my sweet little baby.
So you're less afraid?
Some things never change. Carol is still too clumsy for her own good. Sometimes her innocence puts her in real danger.
Why would her innocence put her in danger?
She does not realize how cruel life can be. Maybe I was a bad mother to protect her too much. My poor dear Carol.
You have every reason to be cautious, Miss Price. Especially in these difficult times.
Maybe you could talk with her, Dr. Reed. It would be nice to have a man here more often. We would both feel safer.
Do you know Aloysius Dawson?
Everybody knows him. He's only been to my shop once, though, looking for rare books and other intriguing antiques.
Did he buy something from you?
No, he left quickly. He almost laughed at my goods. Mr. Dawson may be a rich man, but you can't buy good manners.
But isn't Aloysius Dawson known for his philanthropy?
That was before his brother Robert died in an aeroplane crash. Since then, the remaining twin has turned into a heartless tycoon.
Goodbye for now, Miss Price.
Dr. Reed, I am glad to see you again.
To us! Turn around, sir.
When science fails you,
Joe, please, I don't have your money.
Come on, Barry.
Good evening, Mr. Nethercott.
And good evening to you too.
Do you need medical attention?
It may be wise to...
I understand.
The nutrition...
I'll leave you... It's locked, all right. I have this thirst for blood. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Not a good place for a stroll.
Get them weapons ready! We found them! Filthy murdering bastard! Go on! Back to the shadows!
I will return at a more convenient time. It's locked.